Thank you for putting up with us for hours here and your answers. I wish we had more clarity on where we're going with this energy plan. Basil, you started out talking about all the great reductions we've had in New York State in lowering emissions, and it's been fantastic, and we have been doing the right thing, and we will continue to do the right thing, and we need to continue to do the right thing. A big problem in this discussion is that whenever you ask questions about reliability and affordability, all of a sudden you're a climate denier or you don't care about the environment. And I can tell you that can't be further from the case, certainly with all my colleagues on my side of the aisle, that that's not the case. And we're here to do what we can, responsibly, feasibly, affordably, and reliably. But you're not giving us that comfort. April 3rd last year, you gave everybody in this room whiplash with your 20 versus 100-year op-ed that you put out. And Mr. Seggos, your comments that day were, if we don't switch from 20 to 100 years, these costs are going to be extraordinary. Ms. Harris, you said New Yorkers will pay substantially more out of their pockets at the pump and to heat their homes and beyond. Yet you're providing us no pathway, no plan here other than we got these goals and we're going to meet it. As of some stats I've got from a couple years ago, I think they're maybe 2 years stale, but probably still consistent. New York consumes less total energy per capita than all other states, and it consumes less energy per capita on transportation. In 2020, New York State's per capita energy-related emissions were lower than any other state. And this is what concerns me about the planning that we're in. At that point, New York State and our energy leaders decided to close Indian Point Nuclear Facility. Since then, our emissions have risen from energy production in the state. In the New York City metropolitan area that Indian Point served, my understanding emissions have risen by over 40% in these last 3 years. Not the direction that we want to be going in. And most concerning about your April 3rd comments was there was no cost analysis completed. And you wait till 4 years after the CLCPA to tell us that, when we've been claiming that all along. And you come out 4 years later and say, oh, these costs are going to be extraordinary if we don't do something about it. But we're going to save the day on everybody. Your heat's not going to go up 80%. Your cost of gas isn't going to go up 60 cents a gallon. We got this thing called cap and invest that we're going to come up with. And we still have really nothing on that from either of you. So the track record's not good, and our faith in this process is not good. And we want it to work, we need it to work, without bankrupting the state and running businesses out of the state. So, 2 questions. How many more megawatts of energy production do we need before 2040 in New York State? And what is the total amount you plan to raise through cap and invest from New Yorkers or New York businesses? Because you're going to put these fees on polluters who are permitted emitters, by the way. These are manufacturers and industry in the state that provide goods and services to New Yorkers. So those, either the fee or the tax you put on them is going to raise those costs of goods for everybody. So how much energy do we need by 2040, more than we have? And cap and invest, how much are you going to raise and who are you going to raise it on? Who are the chosen few going to be and who's not going to be chosen?
So on the first question around grid needs, as I said, we're looking at a rough doubling of our grid's capacity. So we're about 150 terawatt hours a year of load. So between now and 2050, that would roughly double. I hope that answers your question as to the grid build out. And then on the topic of analysis, I would point you to the recent publication of our NICI pre-proposal, which lays out very clearly various scenarios focusing on affordability and ways in which that can achieve or contribute to our goals as
You
well as
haven't
impacts.
identified who's going to pay or how much they're going to pay. My constituents are very concerned over what these costs are going to be.